group of folks to come in and start taking over leadership. So I would not be surprised if a woman, but I'm going to tell you, we got one of the baddest sisters in the country, and I say this on the record. With Rosalind Brock, the chair of the National Literacy Board, history will reflect back that she's one of the baddest leaders of our time. Well, they're asking me to sit on the national board, but I'm a Roxbury dude, so whatever I do is going to be centered around Roxbury.
Speaking of Roxbury, how do you think RCC students can be more involved in this?
This generation, it's a challenge to convince generations to get involved, because it's the video games and they want to be out doing their own thing. And I always tell them, I'm going to come at you in two ways. I'm going to deal with your selfish side, and I'm going to say, it's a job, right? If you can't get a job in journalism, but if you come and do journalism for me, you do press releases, press conferences, even if you're my communications chair, you'll speak for me. And then all of a sudden, now you got a resume in journalism. That's what happened to me. I was a journalism student, but when I had on my resume that I was a volunteer at NAACP, I was doing press conferences, press releases, that I was writing speeches for the president, that I was traveling with him to national meetings, my resume was ridiculous. So even companies wanted to hire me, because now they didn't get caught up in the NAACP thing. They got caught up in, could I do the job well? So I say it's selfish, that sort of selfish side that we all have. Do it because it's going to give you a pipeline to your career. And no matter what that is, if you want to do law enforcement, I deal with the police all the time. I deal with the commissioner. I deal with racial profiling. I deal with stop and frisk. If you want to do health disparities or health, or you want to be a doctor or a nurse, come on board and get involved in the policy around disparate treatment. Is a doctor treating their black patients different than their white patients? Or the Affordable Care Act? Are we taking advantage of the coverage options that come through state health reform or national health reform? So all of a sudden, you're like, wow, I got some experience. I didn't get paid for it. I had to volunteer to do it. Yeah. But now, I know what I'm doing. That's the selfish side. The other side is to try to motivate, and that's what Dr. King did. That's what Malcolm X did. That's what Derek does, is that you hope that God gives you sort of the words to get in someone's head that they say, you know what? I see it now, and I want to do it. And you're kind of doing both constantly. So that's the challenge, but I'm optimistic, because our organization, NAACP Boston Break, is the youngest it's been probably since Joe Feaster was president in the 1970s. So.
Professor Washington, you have a lot of young professionals here, a lot of students here. What is one piece of advice that you could give to us that we could take away and that we can grow from?
Don't be afraid. You are young, the world is yours, and I literally mean that. Don't let any obstacles come in your way. If it's something that you want to do it. Pursue your major. One example that I can think of, a lot of students say that they want to become doctors. And they have the ability to become doctors. But then when you ask them about this timeline thing, all of a sudden they get real scared. This is 8 or 9 years that I have to commit. If you keep living, you're going to reach that goal. So don't be afraid of what you want to become, and just pursue it. Internships. Again, I cannot stress the fact about talking to people, talking to your professors, moving, doing studies abroad. All of these things add to your resume. And as Mike said, it may be a little selfish, but you know what? It's building your resume, it's building your character, so that when you get ready to present yourself on a job interview, you have all of those skills. And people see your skills. And you have that resume to go along with it. So do not be afraid. This is your time. And I literally mean that. This is your time to not be afraid and to go out there to capture your dream. And you can do it. You just have to stay steadfast and stay on the right track. And you can achieve it.
What is your dream going forward?
For myself? My dream for myself is to have a break. I got a paid job and a volunteer job, and both of them require over 40 hours a week. My dream, and I just want to kind of touch on something Derek said, and I so appreciate what he does here at RCC and in the community. And it sort of the quiet warriors, the people that are doing some work on the ground that people don't even know about and don't necessarily know their contribution, even if it's just motivating our next generation. I always talk about obstacles in life, and I say that life is like a track meet with hurdles. And if you're like I was, born in Roxbury, projects, single mom, dad was an alcoholic who I didn't see, and then other things, the risk of violence and drugs, some of those hurdles are already there as soon as you're out the box. But every bad choice you make, dropping out of school, having a baby, it doesn't mean you can't finish the race, but the race becomes so much longer, and the likelihood that you'll finish so much more unlikely. And I think if I could say something to African American youth in particular, is just don't add to the race. Just finish, just jump the hurdles you got, and don't add to it. And when you do, make that the last hurdle you add. And we've all had that. You know, there's some hurdles that I've added.
Still happening.
It's still happening. And then just in terms of vision for the community, I just think that I'm so optimistic that when I'm here at RCC and I meet some of these talented youth. My son just left to go to St. John's University in Queens, and I know that his passion is starting to grow for community. I'm very optimistic on what that means for our future. And, progress. I love seeing the progress.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Is there anything you guys like to add before we head out to us?
Thank you for having me this morning. Again, we're celebrating RCC's 40th birthday. We want students to get involved. We want you to stay involved and register to vote, because votes actually change things and can make things happen. So be encouraged.
I probably leave it. I'm a proverb and quote person, and I'm always doing proverbs and quotes. One is, rivers are filled one drop at a time. It's an African proverb. So any struggle, any challenge requires your drop, right? If you want us to tackle all these issues, we need your drop. And another one is a W.E.B. Du Bois quote, and he's one of the founders of the NAACP, which says, "Nothing can be solved that can't be faced. Nothing can be solved that can't be faced." So we need all of us to collectively face those issues. So those are the two things I believe.
Thank you guys so much. We truly appreciate it. Let's give it a hand. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.